A young woman was found dead inside her apartment. The front door was locked. The windows were sealed, and the only clue left behind was a single videotape sitting beside the television. When police played it, they realized they were looking at a murder that mirrored a horror movie scene almost perfectly. Her name was Helen Webb. She was 28 years old. She worked at a bookstore. She lived alone. Friends described her as quiet, intelligent, and obsessed with old horror movies. She especially loved cult films from the 1970s and 1980s. On the night she died, neighbors heard strange sounds coming from her apartment. Footsteps, a loud crash, then silence. The next morning, Helen didn't show up for work. Her manager called police. When officers entered the apartment, they found Helen lying on the living room floor. There were no signs of forced entry. Nothing had been stolen. But the room looked staged. Furniture had been moved. Curtains were pulled shut. Candles had been placed around the television. And beside the TV was an old VHS tape with no label. Police played the tape. It contained scenes from an obscure horror film Helen loved. In the movie, a woman living alone is stalked by someone who enters her apartment at night, rearranges the furniture, lights candles, and kills her in front of the television. The details were almost identical. Then police discovered something even more disturbing. Helen had been receiving anonymous letters for months. Whoever sent them knew intimate details about her life, and many of the letters referenced scenes from horror films. One line read, "You already know how your story ends." Investigators eventually focused on a man who worked at a local video rental store. He often spoke with Helen about horror films. He knew where she lived, and witnesses claimed he had become obsessed with her, but police never found enough evidence to charge him. To this day, the murder of Helen Webb remains unsolved. Some believe the killer was recreating scenes from Helen's favorite movies. Others think someone wanted the crime to look like fiction, to hide the truth. But one question still remains. Did Helen know how the story would end before it happened? This remains an unsolved shadow. I'm Dennis, and these are the shadows that don't fade. If you've heard of a case that mirrors fiction, comment below and lock your door tonight, just in case.